Greetings everyone. Today we have with us Dr. Monica Suri, who is currently heading School of Business at Aarey University. She is a qualified UGC NEET in the area of management. In her 23 years of experience, she has had long association with Amity University, Noida and Dubai, Punjab Technical University, Maruti Udyog Limited and Excite Batteries in various key positions. She has also been honored with the Ambassador for Peace by UPF, which is popularly known as Universal Peace Federation. She has published national and international publications in her credentials in the area of marketing and behavioral science. She has also authored multiple online articles and has been associated with Silicon India and Education Insight as an expert writer. On behalf of College Dunia, I'd like to thank ma'am for giving us this opportunity to interview her and being a part of our College Dunia initiative, Thoughtful Leaders.
On that note, I'm so honored to be here with you and to share with you the credentials of Aarey University. Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. On that note, let's start off with the first question, which is, ma'am, you've held key positions at various educational institutes throughout your professional career. So what are the key factors that has kept you connected with the education sector in general?
Yeah. So Ishita, as you know that I started my career from industry, but as I had inclination for teaching and academics right from beginning, because I've seen my teachers growing and progressing, and there was a lot of creativity scope also when you are in a particular profession, specifically when you deal with the young minds and young students, that gives you very different level of satisfaction. And as I dealt with a good young team of dynamic professionals when I was in industry, and I wanted to explore industry in the beginning of my career, because I thought that before I just switch over to academics, it's important for me to acquire more of practical understanding from industry, which will further help me as a faculty in my research consultancy and most importantly, my teaching learning process. So that's why this is one of the most, optimal factor which actually influenced me to join academics with a good blend of industry and academia. And there's a personal reason associated with this also. My late grandfather, who was a former Vice Chancellor GNU, Professor G.K. Chadha. He was my great inspiration because he has done so much for academics, specifically, in all over the part of our country. And his contributions are tremendous and remarkable. And though I'm still trying to be on his footsteps to contribute fully from my side also as an academician, and I'm trying to, learn and unlearn what exactly I have actually understood from throughout my career of teaching and academia and also the industry. So I feel that a good blend of academics and teaching will give you a good understanding with respect to industry perspective. So that's why I thought of switching to academics, and now I'm fully in academics since last 23 years. And I feel that I have no more a chance to switch over to any other sector, because I feel that there's a lot of scope to contribute. There's a lot of scope to collaborate in the best interest of students, also to give back to society and industry. So with this thought, I think this is what exactly I thought when I entered into academics as a professional. Yeah.
That's really wonderful, ma'am. On that note, let's move on to our next question. Being the head School of Business at Aarey University, how do you strategize about the key programs and plans for marketing, especially for School of Business at your university?
Though Ishika, it is one of the most important question and concern at this point in time for all B schools. And the planning of this, we have done much ahead since the establishment of our university in 2011. All the programs which actually were initiated at our university, we have taken care of the technical and behavioral aspect and also the operational aspect in totality. We have never seen any program in isolation. We try to bring the element of interdisciplinary aspect into teaching learning process. And as far as each program is concerned, we try to bring some USP to each program. For example, if we are running MBA program, we have good collaborations and association with industry like Gift City, CII, Confederation of Indian Industries, PICI, and Chamber of Commerce, they all are collaborating with us in our teaching learning process, specifically with respect to our pedagogical innovations, virtual internship of our students, or for that matter, grooming our students for final placement. So I personally feel that every program at Oro University, we have scaled it up year after year as per the expectation of industry, as per the demand of the respective program or the respective specialization, to enhance the employability scope of our students. So I feel that all these aspects have actually given an edge to us with respect to our curriculum. And this was the technical aspect of the curriculum I'm talking about. And obviously, when it comes to each and every program's curriculum design, we have a good integration of faculty and industry together, wherein we are not leaving any corner untouched to minimize the gap between industry and academia, because generally it is said that whatever has been taught in the classroom is different from when you apply it in the industrial setup or a social setup or maybe corporate setup. So we try to eliminate gap in every program. For example, in BBA program also we have a lot of simulation based projects, live projects, which are completely aligned to industry, and many of the industries are also helping us in the process of co-creation and restructuring of our curriculum, specifically at this time of COVID-19, because whatever we taught earlier may not be implemented in future in the same way. We need to change the pace of the program. We need to change and restructure and re-strategize the curriculum design, so that industry, our students should become the first choice and first preference of the industry at large. Last but not the least point in this is like we have not focused on every program technically only. We also have taken care of behavioral aspects. Like at Oro, we are very particular about the behavioral aspects of students. Like we always say that we are a university with a difference, and we are and our logo and motto aligned to our vision is like integral and transformational approach to learning. So we want that whosoever comes to Oro University as a student, be it School of Business, be it School of Law, any school, we want that they should be trained first as a good human being, and finally their transformation as a professional will automatically follow them. And as you rightly said, that marketing and promotion of each program is important, but I feel that you strengthen the technical, operational, and behavioral aspects of each program, marketing and placement will automatically follow you. You need not to be in queue to bring companies to you, but companies will automatically looking for you and they'll come to you. I mean, definitely they'll come to you because they see some kind of value addition in you, and they see that your students are not the mass in the class. They have class in the mass. They have something extraordinary in them, which they can utilize in their industrial setup, in their corporate setup, to add value to the existing processes. So I feel that technical and behavioral, all aspects are equally important for us as a university, and it is being aligned to all schools, not only for School of Business, but to all schools of Oro University.
That's really wonderful to hear, ma'am. On that note, let's move on to our next question, which is, what makes a university is its curriculum, and essentially what the student learn at the college while they are at the university. So how does the curriculum of business, how does the curriculum of School of Business at Oro University ensure that the best practices of the industry are followed?
Yeah, thank you for asking this question, Ishita. See, the beauty of our curriculum and respective school is like we have our advisory boards on place. For example, if School of Business is there, we have our advisory board in place, wherein 90% of the representation is from industry. And most importantly, we are located in Hazira, Surat, and we are getting the locational benefit because we are surrounded with a lot of corporate houses, industrial hubs around us, be it manufacturing, retail, banking and insurance, and we are sitting very close to Gem and Jewelry Park, wherein we have all the traders, manufacturers, and these textile merchants and diamond owners sitting over there, which actually adds value to our existence as a university. And our students can be aligned to a very practical exposure to learning, because it's easy for us to coordinate with people over there who can come here and take the guest lectures from the topmost positions of the industry, and they're talking to the students about the latest trends of the industry. They're talking to them about the practicalities and what is expected out of them once they pass out from Oro University after 2 years, also in the span of time. So all these things are facilitating our industry practices. And secondly, most important thing is like our curriculum is not being designed only by the faculty. We involve and engage our advisory board members to review and screen and modify and update our curriculum also. And it is jointly being designed by faculty and the industry experts. So I don't see any scope of gap between industry and academia once our students are going for internship or for the final placement. And most importantly, when it comes to the industry best practices, we have immersion program in place, not only for the students when they are going for internship or virtual internship now at this point of time when we are suffering from the COVID-19 phase. So our students and faculty both are going for immersion programs. So if I'm a marketing faculty, I can go in one particular industry for one week or maybe 10 days span of time. I can understand the latest trends of industry from there, and I can get updated about all the latest practices going on in the area of marketing, human resource, supply chain, finance, operations, and then I can bring back that knowledge and transfer it to my students in my classroom setup. And now it is virtual classroom, so I think that has scope for more creativity and innovation. So these immersion programs are also filling up the gap between industry and academia to some extent, and I'm sure it is helping us a lot, with respect to our curriculum design, with respect to the personal and professional development of our faculty also, to be updated throughout whatever new trends are coming. They are well updated, they are well read, they are well informed. And last but not the least is, as I told you, we have locational benefit. So it's very easy for us to take our students for industrial visit outside to some manufacturing unit to show them the supply chain management, to take them to see the marketing strategies of one particular company. And we are also getting a benefit of bringing the best minds of the world to our campus for guest lectures and distinguished guest lecture series. For example, recently we had Mr. Sodhi, Managing Director of Amul. He was here with our students for a talk, very special talk on supply chain management of Amul. So that way, because of this locational benefit, we are proactively working on this so that we should be able to build up the gap between industry and academia. Yeah.
That's really wonderful to hear, ma'am. And, I believe that students would definitely benefit from the curriculum at Oro University, and, they would be ready for the next challenge that is in their career and, achieve greater heights. On that note, let's move on to our next question. We're all aware that, Oro University is a very well-known university in Gujarat. And, so I'd like to know from you that, what is Oro University's top priority over the next year? And, what are the milestones that you would like to achieve?
Yes. Thanks for asking this question, Ishita. First of all, I want to know that we don't, 10 years is a big, long span of time. As I told you in the beginning, we are a university with a difference, and we are a very progressive university. We established with 2 schools in 2011, and now today we have 8 schools in place and many more to come in future. So obviously, we would like to scale up the standards and quality of each of every school of ours, which is placed here. In fact, there are 8 schools in total at this point in time at Oro University, from School of Business to School of Sciences, which is the new addition of the school in this particular year. So we are looking for more of benchmarking in future at local level, national level, as far as the global level is concerned, because that is equally important for us. Because we have, for your information, we have almost 33 MOUs signed with national foreign universities and industries, wherein almost 18 MOUs are from foreign universities like University of Northampton, University of Rome, University of Italy, and many more to come on cards and on board with us. So what is happening with this benchmarking? We are able to collaborate with them for student exchange program, faculty exchange program, joint research consultancy and project programs. And summer school and winter school is very common feature of all B schools in the country today. And we are trying to benchmark all these best practices with these kind of meaningful, productive collaborations that we have. So obviously, for sure, I would like to have more schools in future, which should actually add in the umbrella of our university. And other than that, we have expectations, and we hope that we'll be able to attract, intellectual minds of all the faculty members from all over the world as adjunct professors, as visiting professors, and who can collaborate with us in the teaching learning process in the best interest of students and society at large. So largely, we want to bring qualitative aspects in every process of our university, which we have done so far very effectively, because we are truly ready with the virtual teaching and virtual learning. And since last 6 months, we are actually rolling on to bring the highest impact to our students in terms of our innovative practices, in terms of giving them a wonderful virtual teaching learning experience also. So the intention is just to scale up, in the best interest of students, in the best interest of faculty, and also most importantly, as a university, we want to be one of the global university, with a good reach. Yeah.
That's really great, and I hope that all the goals that you've set for our university, those are achieved, and our university achieves greater heights, and it becomes well known pan India and globally. On that note, let's move on to our next question. Like I had said previously also, that students are always searching for information on the internet. They're trying to gauge what college should they join, what makes one college better than the other, and how they would benefit essentially from joining one college. So what is that one thing that you would like the students to know about Oro University that they may not be knowing?
Yeah. So there are many things, and whosoever have explored our university official website, they might be knowing us. But those who have not explored us yet, I would like to share with you some of the USPs, or maybe the best practices for which we are known as a university with a difference. So the very first is that our university is based on the philosophy and principles of Sri Aurobindo and Divine Mother, wherein our philosophy is quite integral in nature. And whosoever comes to Oro University, we don't want them to be competent technically and operationally only. We want them that they should be transformed in the physical, mental, vital, and spiritual aspects of their personality, so that once they pass out from the university, they should bring some difference to the life of people. They should change they should uplift the status of people, whether it is rural people, urban, or wherever industries they're getting into, or family business. They have said they have their own family businesses also in Oro University, or largely the students are coming from family business background. So I'm sure they are going to add value to them, because our integral approach to learning is not for a particular program, it is for the lifelong. And our promoter, our founder president, Shri S.P. Ramaji, he has a wonderful vision of integral and transformational approach to learning, with very special focus on 12 core values that we don't compromise in any aspect of our teaching learning, in any aspect of our university operations. And I'm sure that is one thing which makes us unique. Second most important aspect is 20-30-50 principle. So 20-30-50 learning principle, teaching learning principle, is very unique. Though you might have heard from everyone that we are doing experiential learning, many universities are very aggressively and promptly using this, jargon of experiential learning. So I would like to share with you that with this 20-30-50 principle, it talks about that students learn 20% they learn by listening, 30% they learn by speaking and presenting, and 50% they learn by doing. So our philosophy is based on 20-30-50 principle, because our students, you need to be well read, because our students, we don't want them to have superficial understanding of any aspect of business. So it's important for them to pay attention to that 20% of learning, so that once they understood the things properly, it will be easy for them to perform it in the form of presentation, and finally action. So we believe in action-oriented learning. We believe in action-oriented outcome. And though it's a students-oriented university, and we strictly focus on the need identification of students, and we want to understand their strengths, limitations. Accordingly, we align our teaching learning process, because each and every student is very special to us, and they came with a lot of expectation to us, as a university. So this 20-30-50 principle, what it helps, what it gives them, it helps them growing professionally. It helps them growing their confidence. It helps them developing their positive self-esteem, because they become more confident and vocal. Once they enter into university, many times we have seen that they have their own limitations, emotional limitations, they have their professional limitations, there's communication problem, there's a problem of stage fear, or there's a problem of not being so confident as a person. So this 20-30-50 principle makes them very independent in their thinking process, makes them very independent in their actions, and they can take responsibility. So it is very practical, experiential learning experience which we actually impart to them. Other than these two USPs which I shared with you, one is Integral University, second is 20-30-50 principle. And one more thing which we would like people to know about us is, like, we have, as I told you, that our founder president, Shri H.P. Rama, he's a follower of Shri Aurobindo, and as a part of the CSR, because he's a hotelier by profession. And so he came up with this university out of his love and his respect for Shri Aurobindo under CSR. And then that's why the university is completely aligned to integral and transformational approach to learning. So he has established here within the campus of 120 acre we have in Hazira, we have established CELC, that is Aurobindo Integral Learning Center. So what this center do? This center imparts training programs in the area of physical, mental, vital and spiritual well-being of the people across the city. Not only across the city, but across the world, because one of the CELC center is there in US, where Mr. Rama is based. And then we have CELC over here. And this is actually a gift to the city, Surat city, and to the country, wherein anybody can come and avail the services. Anybody can come here for meditation exercises, for meditation programs, for training programs, which are more aligned to happiness, which are more aligned to, spiritual quotient. So all these integration of training programs we are doing, which is aligned to physical, mental, vital and spiritual well-being of the people. So the center is established here in the university, and anybody can come and do the services. And we do a lot of mentoring. We offer counseling support also to the people at this time when COVID-19 has actually made all of us imbalanced in terms of our emotional, physical, mental aspect. So we have trained counselors, we have trained spiritual experts who are actually, offering such kind of small training programs and workshops, experiential workshops to the people. And these are some of the USPs which I feel that, because the rest of the information is there on website. So I request the audience to please visit our website once and go through the intense activities that we are doing, and which makes us different from other universities. Yeah.
That's really wonderful to hear, ma'am. On that note, we'd like to move on to our next question, which is, any last thoughts or suggestions that you'd like to give to the aspiring youth of the country given the current situation?
Yes, Ishita, thank you for giving me this opportunity. And at this point in time, being a mentor, being a mother, being an academician, my only message to these young minds is, like, don't get restless about your placements or internship, or for that matter, getting admission into one particular university. This time I know is very tough time, but yes, every tough time comes with some good opportunities also. So my suggestion to all the young budding students who are actually pursuing their degrees or about to enter into any higher education system is, like, don't be dependent just on the curriculum, what has been taught to you or what will be taught to you online or in the blended teaching learning mode. So get into more of certifications, get into more of skill building activities, skill building programs, get more of certifications on finance, marketing, digital marketing, business intelligence, TQM, Six Sigma, which will actually, business analytics is one of the fields which is, which will enhance their employability scope. So my message to them is, like, be quiet and calm, maintain your equanimity and balance, take responsible decisions at this point in time. No need to get panic and no need to get restless, because the things will get normalized soon. But utilize this productive time in bringing the best in you as a person, as a professional, by getting into all these certifications worldwide. There are many open sources worldwide open at this point in time in the form of free certifications. They can go on Swayam, they can take some of the courses from UGC, and there are many foreign universities who have opened their virtual classrooms to attend the sessions free of cost, as an open learning source. So I feel that they should spend more time in grooming, in more time in enhancing and enriching their skill sets, because the coming time is obviously it's tough time after 2 years, because the placement scenario will not remain same, and maybe there'll not be the same demand of professionals as it was earlier. So maybe they'll take the best minds from the universities. So it is better to spend their good constructive time in reading, in listening, in grooming, in incubating more and more new ideas and exploring other than their specializations, exploring some interdisciplinary aspects of education by doing some good certifications from some known sources and authentic sources. And I'm sure that will add value to their employability, and then the placement will never be an issue for them. So they need to maintain their balance and equanimity at this point in time. So I wish them very good luck for future ahead. And I'm sure these young minds are very smart. They're in fact smarter than us, and they might already have their roadmap in front of them. In case they don't have, they can take help of the counselors from various good universities. They can take help and mentoring support from other agencies wherein they have the consultants and all. So I think it will be easy for them to, beat up this period of COVID-19 very effectively. Yeah.
That's really wonderful to hear, and that is some useful advice that the student could use to, advance their career. Because right now, all that they can do is, try to gain as much knowledge as possible and be ready for the next challenge. On that note, I'd like to end this interview and thank you for giving us your precious time and being a part of our College Dunia initiative, Thoughtful Leaders. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ishita. Have a nice time and stay happy and healthy and safe, most importantly. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.